If you've got a lot of mileage on your Tesla, like I do, you probably have some noises coming from your front suspension. If the noises happen when you turn the wheel, go over bumps on the front, it's probably the upper control arms in the front suspension. These parts wear out over time, and you can't really expect them to last much more than 100,000 miles. Basically, it's a ball joint right here where this upper control arm, this black part of the suspension, connects to the main up and down arm that travels with the wheel. And you can see there's a boot here, and there's what almost looks like a grease fitting on top, but it's not a grease fitting. It's completely sealed. It's a sealed system that has lubricant in there, and the way it is lube for life. And like we said, it's expected to last about 100,000 miles. But then once you get near that, it's gone. And the only remedy really is to replace this. And you can do that yourself, which I'm going to do in the future by just taking it off and putting it back on. It's not that big of a deal. You don't even need to do an alignment as long as your alignment's okay. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to extend the life of it. So I'm going to show you how to do that with a grease gun and a special needle adapter. That's all you need. So all you're going to need for this is some basic things: a pair of gloves for your hands to keep grease off of them, a grease gun filled with extreme pressure grease, which has a tip on it that you can change out, and then you got to buy some tips. I bought them online. Of course, I got my adapters at Jeff Bezos and Company, and this is it. They're just basically, as you can see, this is a threaded tip on it, you see? And you can replace them. You can change them out with these, which are needles, which are very dangerous. Be careful. You might puncture your own self with it. All right, so open these up. This whole set was like $11 or something. And inside of here, you got a whole bunch of them. All I need is one. And as you can see, it's got the threads on it, and these threads should match up with the standard threads on the end of this. So just take off what you have, as long as your grease gun's loaded, and we'll do another video if you don't already have it on how to load a grease gun. You should hopefully already know how to do that, but this is just changing out the tip basically. So this old tip just comes off. Just try not to contaminate the grease inside. Let this thing set aside and put the other tip on. This is extremely sharp, so be careful. It should go right on the end. Yep. And then you're ready to go from here. If your Tesla's like mine and has air suspension, just raise it to the highest setting like I have, and you probably don't even need to put it on the lift. Just see exactly where you want to inject the grease, which is in this boot area at the bottom. All right, we can see that this side that's on the driver's side of the tire rather than the front bumper side is lower. So I'm going to try to inject some up in this area right here, so that when it does settle down, it'll settle down there, and if some oozes out, it'll ooze out up here, and that's it. So I'm going to put that needle right in that section of the boot. All right, I got it in. Now I just pump a bunch of pumps in there so you can start feeling it's getting filled up and getting under pressure a little bit. Not too much, just a tiny bit, so it requires some finesse here. You saw that grease come out the last time. That was about pump number 8. I'll do about the same number of pumps on the other side. And that's it. That's all you're gonna get in there. Remember, this is just extending the life. This is not going to give you another 100,000 miles. It's just gonna keep you from creaking now until you can start planning the replacement of these things. Unless you were to start greasing these preventatively a long time ago, would be the only way that you would be able to extend the life of these upper control arms. You can see it's leaking a little bit of grease. It's okay. It's just going to go right in. On this side, do the same thing. About 7 to 8 pumps on the grease gun. And of course, with this being the passenger side, I want to get this needle on this side, the front, the bumper side, the higher side. Got it in there, ready to go. Pulled it out, and we are done. That's it. That's all you need to do. Let me know in the comments if this worked for you. Remember, this is not a permanent fix unless you're doing it way in advance, and then see, you're still putting a hole in that boot. So you got to be super careful. Ideally, it would be best if somehow somebody could put, see up here, a grease fitting right up here, a grease fitting right up here that you would actually use and not forget about. But of course, everybody forgets about it, and that's why they have those designs they do. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thanks so much. Look forward to reading your comments. Oh, and if you hadn't guessed it already, this is the second set of upper control arms that I'm on, so I'm almost at set number 3 at this mileage. Just gonna clean this off and keep it in this plastic bag.